Hey, everybody. Welcome back.
Hey, everybody. You're not supposed to do hey, everybody.
I just honestly, I was like, I'm not even supposed to start. You should start. Cause you do it.
I was going to.
All right, go ahead.
I was too busy looking at my phone.
I'll just cut this out. No, I won't.
Welcome to another episode of The Man Tracks. I'm Sarah.
And I'm JJ.
And that was way too energetic for me.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit. You know, your vibe is always a little more
bored.
Yeah, like more like just monotone. Not monotone,
Sarah,
but like
I'm bored.
I'm happy. You're not bored though. Like
Hi,
usually
my name is April Ludgate, and I hate this podcast.
you do. You kind of have an April Ludgate vibe.
I hate April Ludgate.
But that's you.
I
That's
don't use the
who
word
you
hate,
are.
but I cannot stand that character.
But
Sorry if you don't watch Parks and Rec. just agree with me.
Ding! That's our Parks and Rec bell. Well, and I am Andy Dwyer, so there we go. It's perfect. It's a match made in heaven. We should dress up like them for Halloween.
Oh my gosh!
I'll be Burt Macklin.
No.
Yeah, and you can be Janet Snakehole.
Ugh, that sounds awful. I'll pass. Please. Pass.
I'm very excited. You know what? It's been so crazy. I'm so glad to be home. I've been traveling a lot this past week, and so we're here doing the thing that we do, and that's as good as the banter's gonna get today. So,
get ready.
Are you ready to approach the news desk?
I suppose I am.
Let's do.
All right. My first story is kind of cute. It's penguin counters wanted at a remote post in Antarctica. Training will be provided for varied tasks.
Varied tasks?
Hmm?
Wait. You said penguin counters.
So Port Lockroy is one of the most visited spots in Antarctica, receiving up to 18,000 visitors a year. So the UK Antarctic Heritage Trust is looking to hire 5 people for a 5-month stint at the world's southernmost post office in Antarctica, including someone to sort mail and count the number of penguins in the area. Okay. In case you were looking for a job, this may be your job.
I would do it for like a vacation, you know, like I'd go down there and like spend a week, and that would be super fun. But I would get so bored of that, I think.
From counting penguins to sorting mail at the world's southernmost post office, working at Port Lockroy is a job like no other, they said on their Instagram page.
That's amazing.
What? We're seeking to hire a base leader, a shop manager, and 3 general assistants, all living at the remote but hectic location. Port Lockroy is located on Goudier Island. It is visited by up to 18,000 cruise ship visitors, making it one of the most visited sites in Antarctica. Wow.
So it's like a thing. It's a fun place to go. Okay.
It was established in 1944 and closed in 1962. The base at Port Lockroy and its website, but was not torn down as the abandoned base, was recognized for its historical importance and contribution to British science, given the status of the historic site and monument, number 61, under the Antarctic Treaty.
Wow. So I was imagining like a little frozen shack on the ice planet Hoth. You know, like I was not. Oh, that's nice. Okay.
It's a cute little shack.
And it's like water. That's not
on
like,
the Antarctic Bay.
I guess
Antarctic
if you
Bay,
think about it, the
southernmost
is not going to be that much southern, because it's not going to be like where the scientific
outposts. So it's made into
outposts.
a living museum, is open during the summer months.
Okay.
So those hired to work.
I'll sign up for that.
It's just a picture of all the penguins around the page.
Oh, that's so cute.
It says those hired to work will be tasked with running the charity gift shop, fundraising, a British Antarctic Territory post office, annual maintenance, and upkeep of the historic buildings and artifacts, wildlife observations, and many other challenging tasks.
I was going to say, you just have to be the jack of all trades. They want someone who can do everything. This is a thing where there was a guy who did it for centuries, like decades, right? And he did it for like 50
Good old
years.
Bob, he was always there.
Yep. And then he's like retired or passed away or something. And now they're like, we need a new Bob.
Wow, that's interesting. It says the position is for a tenure from November 2024 till March 2025. This is actually summer in Antarctica. Temperatures hover from around 20 degrees Fahrenheit to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. That's actually warmer than I thought it got in Antarctica.
Yeah, it's still not warm.
No, but for Antarctica, it says they mostly hover around freezing. Despite the relatively balmy temperatures, working at Port Lockroy is not for the faint of heart. There's no running water, no showers or flushing toilets, limited power, and absolutely no cell phone service.
See, you lost me there.
Limited internet is available, said the website. Medical evacuations could take up to 1 full week, depending on the weather. And the closest hospital is in Argentina.
That actually makes sense though. Argentina stretches way down there, so that's not that. I know that sounds far away, but that's pretty close.
Those hired will need to provide updates on the state of the Gen 2 penguin population on the island. Training will be provided and a written report will be required at the end of the season.
Wow, that if you're young and super healthy and up for a massive challenge, that actually sounds super fun.
So you have to be you have to live in the UK and be permitted to work there because this is being put out by the UK.
Does it pay well?
Doesn't say. It just says there's 5 open positions, and we missed the application deadline. It was March 18.
Oh man!
So 5 lucky people will be working at Port Lockroy.
That's amazing.
Counting penguins.
Okay, but doesn't that kind of sound like if you had 5? Again, I can think the only type of person or the only life stage that would be enthused about
Single
this
person
is college
wanting
students
to travel and do something crazy.
Yeah,
and it's only from November 2024 to March 2025. So it's really only, is that 4 months?
November to March?
That's summer.
November, December, January, so 5 months, yeah.
Yeah, but still, that's not even that long.
No.
That's like a summer internship-ish,
Yeah, and I mean, those are some pretty sweet memories. I spent a winter counting penguins and being the do-it-all handyman around the station. That's awesome.
Random odd jobs.
That's
cool.
I really like that story a lot. That's so fun. A little bit. I mean, I guess I have you guys and the kids, and so I probably shouldn't apply.
Yeah, well, you already missed your deadline, and you're not British, so.
Man, it's all working against
all
me.
All counting against you.
For me to achieve my dream of working at an Antarctic
You've always wanted to be a penguin counter, haven't you?
I have, actually. That would be my favorite part of the job.
Ever since I saw Mary Poppins as a kid. And
just let me sit there and count
Dick
the penguins.
Van Dyke pretending to walk like a
2,
penguin.
look at that one. Cute. 3, 4. I'd do that all day for sure. You give me a warm cup of coffee and I'm inside and I'll just sit there and watch penguins out the window. That sounds great. That's a good day right there.
Oh boy.
I don't even need a TV. I just have penguins.
You can't have one anyway, even if you wanted one.
It's true. Oh man, AP News. Got skunks in your home? Don't use a smoke bomb.
What?
Someone tried to use a smoke bomb to get rid of a skunk.
Do I want to know what the story?
Ferndale, Michigan.
Oh no.
Yup. So right in our backyard, authorities say a man destroyed a suburban Detroit home while trying to use a smoke bomb to rid a crawl space of skunks.
Isn't Ferndale where that cookie shop is that we always go to over by the Detroit Zoo?
Yes,
that's very suburban.
Yeah.
Like even more suburban, more urban.
The Detroit Free Press reports the man attempt sparked a fire on Monday that quickly spread from the crawl space to the entire first floor. The fire eventually spread through the walls and attic of the rental property.
Why would you? Oh, it's a rental property.
Yeah, he burned down his rental property.
Oh, no.
Yep.
What would you use a smoke bomb for, though?
A smoke bomb to get rid of a skunk. I mean, can you think of something that's worse?
I'd probably just wait for it. I'd probably seal up the crawl space and just wait for it to go back outside.
I don't know. He thought, I got this skunk.
Or just set a live animal trap.
Yes, that makes so much more sense. But that's not what he thought. Ferndale Fire Chief Kevin P. Sullivan says the house was a complete loss. And he says no skunk carcasses were found. Total failure. He got 0 of them.
Wow.
And he burned down his apartment. Did you ever see that movie Mouse Hunt?
Oh my God. Yeah,
remember? That's what this is. This is called Skunk Hunt.
This story stinks.
Hey, I heard that.
You got that one this time.
And we have this running joke, listeners, that I don't actually hear Sarah's jokes while we're recording.
They're just little treasures for him to enjoy later. When
I edit, I always hear the jokes, and I think they're hilarious the second time around. But
not fast enough to catch them the first time.
I did catch it. I am not. No. Sullivan says the department advises people should hire pest control professionals for such work. Maybe don't drop a smoke bomb down the crawl space.
Especially if you're a renter. Never mind. Your rental record history just went way down. You will have a hard time finding a place to live for future places.
He says, if someone is this is a quote, an absolute diehard do-it-yourselfer, please read and understand the directions and warning labels on such devices. Look, if you're gonna use the smoke bomb,
What is the warning
least
label? Don't be an idiot.
Don't put this underneath your house. It will start a fire.
Oh my gosh, I can't. I just can't even imagine ever being like, oh look, there's a skunk. So let's throw a smoke bomb at it.
Let's put a smoke bomb. I think that was just sort of a, like when you have a critter and you're thinking like you just kind of grab the nearest thing, right? Like there's a bat in the house, like go get a broom and you just kind of grab the nearest thing.
No, when there was a bat in our house, I ran upstairs and
you
just
sure
like
did.
I just disappeared.
You didn't go back in that basement for
I
like 2
did
months.
not want to go back in the basement. It was creeped out by the fact there's a bat flying around.
I thought it was kind of cool. I love bats though because they eat bugs and.
Oh yeah, they're super cool. Not when you're sitting there watching a movie in the basement and suddenly something's flying around your head.
Apparently, there was a responding firefighter who suffered a sprain, but there were no other injuries reported from the incident. So somehow, in the loss of the house, the firefighter like twisted his ankle, a sprain, but no injuries. But yeah, a guy dropped a smoke bomb down a crawl space to get a skunk and ended up accidentally burning his house down and not killing any skunks.
I just can't.
Isn't that just amazing?
Amazing is not the word I would use, but whew, good thinking.
Wow. I thought that was really funny. And just painful.
Oh, it's just so awful. Like
I know a smoke bomb is not a stink bomb, but in my brain they're like connected, and it's like, why would you drop a stinky thing or a smoke thing after a stinky animal?
I don't understand why would you ever put something that emits smoke, potentially emits sparks, into your
Do you think
home?
That he was trying to smoke it out? Like maybe he had heard the phrase "smoke it out," and he's like, I know, I'll smoke it out by putting a smoke bomb in there. And it's like, no.
This does not apply in this situation. You're doing it wrong. That's not how any of this works.
Well, and apparently it worked. The skunk got away. He left. He wasn't.
Skunk escaped, man.
But you also burned down your home. Skunk hunt.
Skunk hunt.
I
feel like there's a movie.
We just gotta get Nathan. It's not Nathan Fillion. What's that guy's name? Nathan Lane. That's right. Mm-hmm. Nathan Fillion's the guy from whatever that show is.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he's super famous. He was in
super famous. But pause. You always say this, but it's never things that I watch. So super famous means
in
nothing to me if I do not
he's
subscribe to your world.
What was that cowboy space show? Firefly.
Does that sound like something I would watch?
No. Come on. It's kind of called classic Firefly. You never heard of Firefly?
No. JJ, again, please, you're just only further solidifying all the evidences. You never heard of this? No, and I'm fine with that.
There's really just no version of that you ever.
It's like when you were like, "Oh my gosh, you've never listened to that song by Taylor Swift," and I'm like, "No," and should I care?
No, it's just some people don't listen to this stuff. No, I just felt like. I guess it was.
I'm not even gonna apologize for my ignorance. No, I've never heard of it. I don't know who that person is.
If you saw a picture of him, you'd be like, I know who that is. You'd be like, yeah, okay. No, I'm gonna think of more actors that you don't know who they are.
You can name many of them. I don't know many actors. And I'm actually very okay with that.
Yeah, that's all good.
Child bank robbers, dubbed the Little Rascals, were nabbed in Texas. At first glance, the story's like, oh, that's funny. And then you think about it, it's like, oh, that's sad. These kids need better role models.
I saw this story as well. I love it. It makes me laugh a lot.
3 boys, aged 11, 12, and 16. Yeah, but they robbed a bank.
They robbed a bank.
That's not funny. That's
that's true. That's not
actually,
funny. That part's
think
bad.
about it, they were dubbed the Little Rascals by the FBI and had been arrested for allegedly robbing a Texas bank. So the FBI's Houston office said in a post on X, formerly Twitter, that the 3 boys had been charged with robbery by threat. They were not identified because they're juveniles and they were taken into custody on Tuesday.
Yeah, the law is different about juvies.
They're not allowed
release names. Yeah. Yep.
So they released a photo of the pint-sized suspects following their March 14 bank robbery, adding a caption that read, "Believe it or not, they just robbed the Wells Fargo." The local TV station quoted the sheriff's office as saying the kids had passed a threatening note to a bank teller and fled on foot with an unspecified amount of cash. It said 2 of the boys who don't appear to have tried to wear masks or otherwise conceal their identities during the robbery were identified to the authorities by their parents.
That's the part that makes me laugh, is that they got ratted out by mom and dad.
And they should have.
Absolutely.
Who the heck? That's the whole story.
They posted the thing, so the police were like, we need help identifying these people, and they posted the pictures, and mom and dad came forward and said, that's my son. And I love that so much. It's like, you know, because so many parents are like, well, I got to cover for my kid. And it's like, nope, we're going to teach our kids how the law works, you know? And oh my gosh. It's not good.
It's like Leslie finding out that Greg Pikitis hired a fake mom.
Pikitis!
Was he hiring a fake mom again?
Ding! That's our Parks and Rec
Sorry,
bell again.
I can't help it. It's either The Office or Parks and Rec. That's what you get. There's my references.
That's true. You know all those
that's
actors. Yes, I bet if Nathan Fillion was in Parks and Rec, you'd know who he was.
The Little Rascals.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So these three young men, the youngest one was, what was it?
11, 12, and 16.
11, 12, 16. So that is old enough to not want to be associated as a small child, right? And I think calling them the Little Rascals, while funny, probably is a little bit of a twist of the knife for these kids. Like they got totally busted. They didn't get away with anything. And then they're designated for, because the movie Little Rascals is like
I mean, the movie is based on that
kids.
TV show back from the 40s
but
called
that was
Our
also
Gang, and they were small children. Yeah, they were like 5, 6,
and that's why
8 years old. They were not 11.
I feel like it's insulting to call them Little Rascals, and I bet they're super mad that that's their new name. It's like, we robbed a bank. Yeah, we're so hardcore. What are they calling us? The Little Rascals.
Yeah, it is.
But I do love mom and dad turning them in and just like shutting that down. Like, absolutely not. You're going to have consequences for your actions.
Stole an unspecified amount of... What do you think they were going to do with it?
What do you think was written on the note? Because it was like they didn't actually show any weapons. They slid a threatening note across the table, and they were given money.
Give us the money or we'll kick your shins in.
Yeah, is that your idea of threatening?
It is if I'm 11 years old. Hey, I watch Parks and Rec and I lead a very simple life, okay? I can't be expected to leave threatening notes. I don't know how to threaten people, okay? I'm not a very threatening person.
That's true, and that's good. You shouldn't be good at that. But
you next to my dad, I'll let you keep your kneecaps.
You need new slang.
I know, sorry. That was actually a quote from Lizzie McGuire, which is very old, and if my brother were listening to this podcast, he would know that reference.
I bet he would. That's hilarious. Kick your shins. I'm going to laugh about that a lot.
That's okay. I'll laugh too.
I got to assume it was something like we have a weapon. Like we have a gun or something. Give us what we want. You know, like with a demand.
They pulled out their cap gun.
11, 12, and 6. That's actually like, I laughed because the parents, but...
older brother, little brother, and like little brother's friend or something.
Or it could be like related,
you know?
11, 12, and 16.
Because the 16-year-old seems to not fit in there. Like maybe the 16-year-old was like, I'll drive you guys to the site.
Yep, I'll get you there.
And then the two younger kids go in. And
the actual story is really sad when I really think about it.
Oh, I know.
Like,
that's why I'm
that's
like,
heartbreaking.
it is.
No kid should think that that's possible or okay.
Well, but also like, where are they getting this type of ideas? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, that's why when I read the article at first, I was like, this actually makes me really sad. And like, try to make it funny, like Little Rascals, haha. But it's like, ooh, that's making light of a situation that actually is like really awful. And like, I hope their parents use this as like a teaching moment, you know, not like.
You know, the real people, the real jerks are the people who make podcasts that talk about and laugh at these small children.
Okay, fine. Cut this part of the story out.
I feel bad now. Like no, I'm just kidding. It's all good. They got caught and their parents held them accountable, and I actually applaud the parents. Massive props to the parents.
Unless the parents are the ones who put those ideas in their kids' head in the first place.
But hang on, I have a story about even worse parents. So there were parents who let their children go swimming with a 750-pound alligator in a New York home. And then the police found out and took the alligator away from the old man who owned it.
What?
Ailing 750-pound alligator seized from New York home after the gentle giant went swimming with kids.
Gentle giant.
Yep.
It's an alligator.
A Western New York community is rallying behind a man who kept an ailing 11-foot, 750-pound alligator in a pool beside his home. So this guy he has owned this alligator for like 30 years. 34 years. He raised it from a baby.
I didn't know alligators could live that long.
I'm pretty sure they actually live a really long time.
Do they? I have no reference for how long they live.
The 34-year-old reptile, but it's a really old alligator and really sick.
You said ailing,
yeah,
so
ailing.
I assume it's...
But 750 pounds, so
That's huge.
But it's a gentle giant who would swim around in the pool, and this old man who kept the old alligator, would invite the local children. Oh, you want to swim with him? You can pet him. And so people would do it. The homeowner allegedly allowed members of the public to get into the water to pet the unsecured alligator. It was...
Hey, kids, you want to lose your foot today? Or your leg?
He had a decked-out in-ground swimming pool made to look like a pond. State Department of Environmental Conservation stepped in. The massive gator had numerous health-related issues, including blindness in both eyes and spinal complication when he was removed from the home. So he's
being charged with animal cruelty, I'm sure, too.
No, actually it's the reverse. He wants his alligator back, and everybody's like siding with the old man. They're like, yeah, give him his alligator back. He was so good with that alligator. And the Department of whatever was like, no, you can't have an alligator, especially if you're letting kids climb into the pool with it.
It's like, hey, kid, want this cookie? Hey, kid, want to swim with this alligator? What? I don't know why I made him like a kid.
How does this happen in the like crazy helicopter nanny state we live in? Where,
seriously, like, where are these kids' parents?
We have kids on leashes, and we don't let kids out of our sight. They can't even like go for a bike ride around the corner.
But hey, they're letting the kids swim with the alligator. So
the owner's state license to keep the alligator expired in 2021. They determined that at the time the alligator's holding area failed to meet safety standards. So they took action after learning, quote, the extent at which the owner was seriously endangering the public.
Wait, so he had a license to have this animal?
Yeah, he did.
You're allowed to own an alligator?
Who knew? It's so big. To be clear, even if the owner was appropriately licensed, so he was up till 2021, even if he had appropriate license, public contact with the animal is prohibited, and grounds for the license revocation and relocation of the animal. So they were like, you let people in the pool that like, even if you had the license, we would have taken it away because you cannot do that. Oh, wait. Possession of an alligator as a pet, however, is also prohibited by New York state law.
So how did he get the license? Yeah, that
doesn't even make sense.
This article is contradicting itself. I have so many questions.
So he's mad. He wants his alligator back. The reptile lover is fighting back against the seizure of his beloved pet, Albert.
This is exactly like the guy who tried to bring his alligator to the baseball game, and then it was his emotional support animal, and he got mad that they took it and confiscated it, and he wasn't allowed in.
People were super into that too. People
really want old men to have their alligators.
Yeah, come on, let him have his alligator. I took care of him better than most people take care of their kids. Do you mean the people
who let their kids swim with your alligator? Something's wrong.
I take care of my alligator.
Very wrong here.
That's awesome. He tried to renew the permit. He was ignored. So he's like, I tried to do this legally, blah, blah, blah. The grieving man also accused him of... He's very sad that he lost his...
Grieving man. Wow.
He accused them of aggressively seizing Albert despite his claim that his only crime was a lapsed permit. So his claim... Like, nothing happened. No children got hurt. Like,
right, but did he not, like, notice that the alligator's health was poor? Yeah. Like, his eyesight and everything?
It's
not like I'm, like, imagine this to be, like, a cuddly alligator that's friendly and fun, but, like...
The scene they made on my street was very disturbing and totally wrong. I'm very upset and angry about this whole incident. He has strong support on social media from the community.
Oh, that's where you really want your support.
Many have added that Albert was a gentle alligator who didn't pose a threat to the people and children that he swam with. I don't know.
I'm sorry, but I think nature is going to take over at some point. Yeah. And when that alligator got hungry, it was just going to go for the first thing that was swimming in its pool.
Well, it's blind. How can it tell the child in a swimsuit
smells like meat? I think I'll eat
it. The food that you're giving it. Yeah.
Ugh. Wow.
So, yeah, this guy had a 750-pound alligator.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
I don't know if amazing is the word I would use, but yeah, that's crazy.
Albert
the alligator. How old is the guy who owns him?
I don't know. They didn't say in this article. I do think I heard.
So.
Right. Well, he's had this alligator for
34 years.
So I got to figure he's probably in his 50s at least, because he was at least 20 when he got him. I don't know. I'm just making that up. But it's like, yeah, he's just an old man.
Wow.
Who has a 34-year-old alligator who's ailing. And he just wants to swim with the children and have a good time. And he's not a dangerous alligator.
He's not Southern JJ. He's from New York.
Everyone outside of Michigan is
Florida man. It's New York man, actually.
Remember last week it was Connecticut?
Everyone outside of Michigan is from the South. Okay.
Come on, the guy who owns the alligators got to have the Southern accent. Like that just he moved to New York from Florida. That's where
where the gators are. Oh, when them gators got in again.
Gators, give me that shovel.
Sorry, what is with the movie references?
We're just all about it today.
That wasn't even relevant. Well,
Nope.
kind of relevant, I guess, with the gator thing.
I don't know why we would ever.
All right, let's just do sponsor of your life because this has gone way off the rails.
This podcast is falling apart. Help. All right, are you ready for sponsor of your life?
So, this past week, you, not even me. I was in Grand Rapids on
That's
Sunday,
true, I
and
did
that
that.
was. But we went back and forth to Grand Rapids a bunch, and
Yes.
you on Thursday got a van from Home Depot.
Yep.
So that we could. That's what sponsored my life.
What?
Aside from the van, which was
Yes.
very good, we finally found a house, and
That's a perfect.
that is sponsoring my life.
there you
So
go.
all of this kind of ties together. But so we finally found a house, and everything is finally kind of going into place. Hopefully this process goes quickly.
We have a place to live.
Well, fingers crossed. The appraisal is next Monday. So
Yep. We passed the inspection though.
we did pass the inspection. So that was kind of a big point,
Yeah.
is finally found a place, passed the inspection. But you rented a van from Home Depot, which was super helpful because most places that do moving van or moving truck rental,
per mile.
they charge per mile.
Yeah.
So it's kind of pricey. And so we were trying to be more economical and cost effective because this time around it's not covered. It's not being paid for. We're
Right.
paying for it out of pocket.
Yep.
So it's really pricey for us to move back and forth, and we've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So you found Home Depot had moving vans
Yep.
and super, big inside, able to hold a ton of stuff. So we took a huge haul of boxes from our house, and you got a storage unit over there and filled up the van with a ton of stuff, and we're able to, bring a big load over. So that was huge.
Well, and shout out to Matthew for telling me about it. Home Depot's flat rate is significantly cheaper. It was amazing. And I wasn't sure how it was going to go, the rental and whatnot, but it was so smooth. We walk in, sign the thing, and bam. And they charge, they put a deposit hold on your card or whatever, but then you give it back within 24 hours, which we did, and we got money back. And it was like, all right, that was
aside from the cost
cheaper.
of gas and the price of the rental itself, like it was significantly cheaper than a U-Haul.
And it's a flat rate. And that was what was so exciting because it was like, man, the U-Hauls, it's not bad to start, but then, man, you're moving a lot. And it was like, nope, no big deal.
Well, and it wouldn't make sense for us to do a one-way because you can't stay in Grand Rapids. You have to come back. So it's like, hey, let's return this. Can I get another one just to, drive
So, I
back?
mean, we emptied the garage. We emptied the basement. We're really starting to get some progress done. So
that was Sponsor My Life.
that's a good sponsor. In the same vein, sponsoring my life this week, honestly, I'm going to go with Google Maps. It's crazy. I have driven, last week I went to Grand Rapids 4 times. Every other day. That's just a lot of driving. And I literally wouldn't be able to do it without my maps. I still I'm old enough to remember the good old MapQuest days where you'd print out the instructions and you have
that's way more dangerous than looking at your phone.
Gosh, right?
Let me read these directions.
Flip through the
how many miles till we turn? How many miles till we turn?
Page, yep. But then it was I love just being able to say, take me here, take me here. I went to 4 different new places, when I went to the house that we picked, and I had to go there, then I had to go look at storage units, and then I
just viewed that house last week.
Yeah,
Monday.
I mean that's how fast it's been, and I had to go back for the inspection, and it was I just have been driving like crazy, and I'm so thankful for Google Maps, being able to say to my phone, hey, give me directions to this place. Bam, it's there on my phone. It takes no brain power. Yeah. I love it, and I'm so grateful for it because it is just the best technology ever.
Truly,
totally sponsoring my life today.
It's been sponsoring our life for the past month
because it really has.
We have spent over the course of the past month, we have gone back and forth to Grand Rapids so many times. for house searching.
Yep.
It's been crazy. So, yeah. I'm just glad to be done searching for houses.
Oh my gosh, it was such a process. Praise God, we're done. I remember when the realtor called me, I was like, I don't know if you're religious. I don't think he is, but I was like,
God bless you.
I'm over here praising God. Like, it was such a, oh man. Oh, I'm so grateful. So, yes, awesome moving van stuff, awesome Google Maps stuff, awesome we have a house that we're hopefully going to move into very soon.
Do you use words other than awesome?
No, I just that I have like 6 words. If it's not an awesome, it's incredible, and if it's not incredible, it's fantastic. I am SpongeBob.
I was gonna say it's giving me some SpongeBob vibes.
All right, are you ready for our hot topic?
Sure.
So I'm excited about this hot topic. So I have a horrible story to share with you, but that's going to take us into the topic. Okay. So first, I want to talk about the topic of tipping and how much you should tip and where you should tip. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering, what places do you think it makes sense to tip?
When you're in a canoe in the river. So tipping, I think, that didn't quite land.
Old tip a canoe.
Joke wasn't as splashy as I hoped it would be.
Parks and Rec reference number 3.
Well, first for you, right?
That's true.
So I think tipping, I would say, obviously restaurants.
Yes, restaurants.
First and foremost.
Totally.
Any kind of food service. Like when I get coffee, a tip for coffee and stuff.
Okay.
If someone is like hair cutting or something like that, I'd, performing a service like that, I would tip them.
What about like an ice cream place? That's food.
Yeah, I would say that if they're, slinging cones, I'd give them a small tip or something like that. That makes sense. Because it's just like I said, it's food service and they're, I'm not going to give them like a huge tip, but like I'll give them, depending on how much I get, like. Yeah.
If it's like ice cream, I'm thinking you get the change that I have. I'm not going to like calculate a percentage, but I don't know.
When we used to go to Cops and Robbers in Flushing, and you'd like pay with your card, they would be like, because they had the square, it'd be like, would you like leave a tip? And I would always leave a tip. Not something huge, but
it's nice to do.
Yeah.
What about, I'm trying to think. I have always had this suspicion, like obviously you tip waitresses in restaurants, but
I tip hotel maids too.
So how much for that?
I mean, it depends because like so I've worked in hotels.
You used to clean rooms.
I worked in a couple different types of hotels, and so like certain types of hotels, it was like more of like I worked in like a business type hotel where there was a lot of people that were there for business stuff, and they really don't spend a lot of time in the room. So it was like we really wouldn't do much day to day. Like it was mostly just like go in, spruce things up, make their beds, clean their bathrooms, and wipe things down. Pretty minimal.
Yeah, totally.
Then when they'd leave, some people tipped better than others, but they'd leave it like a smaller tip. It was never anything huge, which I always was fine with. Yeah. But I also worked in a hotel where there was a lot of people that would be there for like a week at a time or like a couple of days at a time. They were like vacationing, and they spent a lot of time in their rooms, and so the rooms were always really messy. So it was always like more towels, restock everything, make their beds. Oh, or she's got dirty because her kids were eating pizza in bed, or whatever. My kid wet the bed. You need to clean it up. So like a lot more cleaning. Right. Those I felt like, a bigger tip would have been appreciated. Of course, yeah. Unfortunately, that was not always the case because it was always like, oh, we're on vacation. We don't want to spend that much more money to tip our hotel, room servicer. Admit, in my life, I never really thought about tipping the hotel. I never thought about it until I became
until I started dating you, and then
it was a minimum wage job. Yep. I wasn't making a ton of money, and it's actually a lot of work. Like you're on your feet a lot. And granted, I was, high school to college, like that was different. Yep. It's not like it was exhausting work for me, but it was a lot of work. Like you're bending over, you're cleaning. You can spend anywhere from, 15 minutes to like an hour cleaning a room, depending on how much. Yep. Some even more, depending on how, messy they've gotten. But I definitely think I never thought about tipping for hotel rooms until I became,
and now it's always on my mind. Attendant. I'm like, oh, I should leave something.
Yeah, there's a lot of work. So yeah.
Yeah. So the reason I bring this up is I have this horrible story to tell you because you and I have talked about this a lot. Christians have the Sunday morning food crowd has the worst reputation in the food service industry. Right. Waiters and waitresses dislike working on Sundays because Christians are unkind, messy, sloppy, and terrible tippers.
Yep.
And I that reputation breaks my heart.
Yep.
Like when Christians come in town for a big conference or whatever, the food industry people know that it's a Christian convention because they're rude and they're mean and they don't tip. Isn't that just, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's our reputation.
Shameful.
Like Christians should be the kindest people with the biggest tips and all that kind of stuff. So here's this story. Waitress posted no tip receipt from a pastor, gets fired from job. So earlier this week, there was a story about a restaurant customer. Actually, this is an older story. It's a restaurant customer who chose to deny a waitress a tip. Okay, she said, this is a customer comes in to eat and denied a tip. She said, I'm not going to give you a tip. And she wrote on the thing, I give God 10%. Why would I give you 18? And then she wrote 0 in the tip.
Wow.
She wrote, I give God 10%.
That's awful.
Isn't that gross? So then the waitress, is Applebee's, right? The waitress took a picture of it and said, wow, what a wonderful person, right? She posted it on Reddit. Then she gets caught. They find out that she posted this receipt picture. And so the waitress gets fired.
That's awful.
Isn't that just horrible?
Why would she get fired for posting that?
I guess just it's not professional
Tasteless,
or something. Yeah. Well, what's tasteless is what the person wrote.
Yeah, honestly.
Turns out the person was a pastor. And the pastor, the internet is a remarkably curious place, and so people tried to find out who it was, and they did. They found out who the pastor was, and the pastor was kind of mortified that their behavior was broadcast across. The
Why?
waitress,
Because you knew you were being an awful person?
Yeah, a little bit. It's like, wow, I give God 10%. Why do you get 18?
So you've reduced a person to a monetary value.
Oh my gosh, I just can't get past that. Now the waitress posted it as a lighthearted joke. She wasn't even that mad about it. She was like, haha, isn't it funny how terrible some people can be? You know, just kind of one of those crazy work stories. But then, yeah, she got in a bunch of trouble.
That's awful. Like, I definitely remember working not my first job. So my first job was working in a coffee shop. Well, I was always babysitting, but like my first food service job was working in a coffee shop. And then I ended up working at a restaurant as a server. And I remember they made me train for so long because I was 18. Like I had never served tables. And I remember training for so long. And like the first night that the girl that I was working with, that I was shadowing, that she like went and did a different table and then had me do a couple tables just on my own while she was kind of like observing. Yeah. And I remember the first time I did that, and I had it was a table of probably like 8 people, because it wasn't like a nice restaurant, but it was a nicer restaurant. It was like it was like a rib and steak house or whatever.
That's nice. Okay.
And so food was a little bit pricier. So I was like, you know, and everybody ordered like steak and everybody was ordering alcohol. And so I was like, okay, maybe my tip will be kind of big. Because she was letting me do that table by myself. She was like, you get to have the tip. And so I was all excited. Literally, like, I remember cleaning up that table afterwards. They had left only like coin change on the table. And I remember being like, and they paid with a card.
So discouraging.
And I remember being like, seriously? Wow. And they like spread it all over the table, like amongst all of their garbage and stuff. And I'm like, really? Like,
that's terrible. That's awful.
Are you kidding me? And I just remember being so disappointed because like I was working so hard. Granted, I was a new waitress. I was a new server. Like I'd never done that like by myself before, but I was like trying so hard. And I remember being like, because I was only making $2 an hour. Like I was making
that's the part
$2 an hour at this job. And I remember like, I went in at like 4 in the afternoon and I worked until like 10 as an 18-year-old. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make some tips tonight. And nothing. It's just like a slap in the face. Cause like you work really hard. You serve people. And and granted, I'm the server. I didn't cook the food, but I am bringing it to you. No, I'm the face of the, restaurant for you. And yeah, it was so disappointing. I was like, seriously?
Oh, it's awful. To close out the story, they interviewed the pastor who left the receipt. It's a female pastor, and she said, "My heart is really broken," she tells the site. "I've brought embarrassment to my church and my ministry." And it's like, a little bit, it's like your heart is broken because of your own behaviors?
You made this decision, lady.
Yeah, you did bring embarrassment to your church and ministry, and that A little bit.
Kind of makes me wonder what kind of a pastor and what kind of a leader you were in the first place. Like, if this is the first time you're getting,
it's just a mean thing to do.
Yeah,
that's
not.
So bummed
it's not a very Christ-like way to act to anyone.
No, and so I don't know. So for me, it started with like the fact that they pay waitresses like $2 or whatever. It's like, okay, the tips are essential. That's a part of the they won't have enough to live unless you give them a tip. But then there's other places where it's not essential. Like they get paid at least minimum wage, right? Like your coffee baristas or whatever. Like a Starbucks barista should make good money. Starbucks kind of brags about how much their employees make and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's just that's an industry practice. That's a sort of a standard. And I think honestly, it really goes all the different ways. It's like you should be, as a Christian, and I understand it, like money's tight and it can be really challenging sometimes, but that you should build that in when you're budgeting.
But that's the thing, like
I think I have had a few places where I've been surprised to see a tip option, and I've kind of been taken aback. It's like, oh, tip? I hadn't thought of that. But then once I do, I'm like, oh, I feel like I should, like I'm supposed to.
It's like where was I recently? And there was like a tip option, and I was like,
okay,
go ahead. Just go ahead.
Here's a tricky question. If you get takeout, do you leave a tip? You go to the restaurant and you just are picking up your food.
No, that's a situation where I don't
leave a tip. I feel guilty not leaving a tip. Like it's like I don't, like you didn't do anything. You just are handing me my food.
That's what I was thinking of. There was like a time when we went to Buffalo Wild Wings and like I just did pick up, and I got there and the lady hands me the thing and she was like, here, you gotta sign this, and it was like option for tip, and I was like, you didn't make my food. Like and the people who are working in the kitchen, they're getting paid differently than you as the server are, like, so I didn't tip.
It's tricky.
You know, like if I'm at the coffee shop and they are making my coffee and I'm getting it to go, that's different than if I'm ordering ahead and then I think
it's a really tricky conversation in our society. I think giving someone money, you know, in a tip format is a form of kindness, and not doing it is seen as an unkindness. And so it's like, just on a very general level, Christians should be kind. And so we really need to be generous tippers as much as we are physically capable of. And if you're thinking you can't, then maybe double what am I thinking of? Maybe think twice before you go. Double think. That's not
double think.
Double think before you go. Think twice before. Oh my gosh, I need to go to bed.
I guess you do. Yeah, no, I fully agree. Like,
I just think Christians, we have a very public witness, and it has been slandered so much by bad examples of real people.
Oh, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah,
like if you're going to claim to be a Christian and then treat people like that, you've reduced the person to a value amount of money. And then if you're saying that you already tip, what, you tip God? Like
that was
10%?
Gross.
Like that's
such a gross
why
thing
would you
to
equate those two? And second of all, like, so be more generous with God and also tip your waitress her due amount.
And so all of this was stemmed from a Christianity Today article called "Why Are Christians Such Bad Tippers?" written by the one and only Karen Swallow Pryor. It was behind a paywall, and so I didn't read the whole thing. But
not willing to tip Christianity Today, are you, JJ? I see where it comes out.
Oh man, that came back to bite me. Yeah. So, anyways, it's a decent. I like her defense. It's a theological defense of paying servers 15% or more. And I just think like we have a long ways to go because our reputation is very bad on this as Christians in America, and it really shouldn't be. That's an embarrassment to us. We should be so kind to our food service industry people. So we're a very pro-tipping podcast over here, and
just remembering all the food service jobs I've had screaming back into my head.
Well, and I'll tell you, somebody leaves a generous tip, it can turn your day around when you're scraping by on those jobs. Like I worked in coffee shops for a long time, and it matters. It does. It makes a big difference to have a nice tip day. So, well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to this goofy podcast. We have our fun talking about it, poking fun at each other, poking fun at everything. But if you want to leave us a review over on Spotify or Apple Music, you can actually type out a review. On Spotify, you just hit that 5 stars. If you're not going to do 5 stars, then you just go ahead and not leave a review. That's okay, too. Thanks.
You can also tip us.
Yeah, send us a tip. The tip jar is over at PayPal. Or what do we have? Patreon.
I don't know. PayPal. Get it right, JJ.
I don't know anything. Thanks so much to whoever makes our theme song. We are so grateful. It's not the Seagulls song this time. Although I did add the Seagulls song to the last song. Yeah,
that's painful.
Fun. All right, are you ready to send us out with the mom joke of the week?
Yeah, I can't decide between these, so I'm going to give you a
both.
2 for tonight.
Do it.
Did you hear the joke about the messy bed?
No.
Yeah, I made it up.
Ooh, nice.
Okay. Why did the farmer bury all his money? To make his soil rich.
Nice.
Those didn't even get a laugh. That was how bad they were.
Just a groan. Little.
Nice. That's why I know they're bad jokes. Oh, nice.
Oh, bye, everybody.
Bye.